My name is Filippos Antonopoulos and I'm the CEO of Vermantia. I started in this industry, I think differently than most people in this industry. I first started working for the scratch lottery in Greece when I was 15, during the summers. So my job was to help with the payout. I've always been good in mathematics. And maybe afterwards I was helping in the after hours with some additions. So the scratch lottery was the first job that I did at 15. I founded Vermantia in 2007. So I've been the CEO of the company since. I ran into a conversation between a member of the industry and a member of the media industry, and they were both lamenting the chances that they had to work together because they were friends, and there was little overlap between the media and the television, by that I mean, and the gaming industry. So whiskey after whiskey after whiskey, eventually what was the idea was to create a type of betting Bloomberg. And this pet project became Vermantia. So Vermantia is a gaming content company. The way we treat content is by creating it or aggregating it and eventually delivering it to our B2B clients and to their customers, the players. We do that on the retail, on the online, and of course mobile. If I would spend a few minutes to discuss the creative part, that's where we have our product verticals, and we do mobile games, we do virtual games, and we do social games as well. In order to sum them up, we sell our games outright. In other instances, we aggregate TV rights from our international partners, such as racing partners and sports partners. And then we deliver live playouts customized for retail bookmakers. So that's another part of our products, the live playouts. We are very active in the social gaming industry as social games, freemium and free to play. Of course, there exists now this type of convergence between the two, but I will discuss this in a little bit. We are in Europe, we are in Asia, we are in North and Latin America. We are now live in 16 countries in those 4 continents and delivering our content in more than 32,000 points of sale. It does not only have to be a unique selling product, it can always be not only a proposition but also a philosophy. It starts with a P, so I can say it. So we have a unique selling philosophy, that's one thing, and that philosophy is the way we treat content, end to end. We create it and we see it through all the way to the way that the user experiences and interacts with it. I think that's our USP. If I were to say what our unique selling product is the way that we can create television services and television channels that are a mix and match of varying types of gaming content. I don't think anybody else does that in the industry. An interesting thing about the sector is how people have started to graduate from segmenting markets and segmenting different corporations, I mean the corporate entities, and starting to put together product segmentation. We see that from the large players such as Intralot, Scientific Games, GTech, and I think that everybody else is following suit. We will see from the gaming content owners the urge to reach directly the consumer. And an interesting thing will be how they resist this urge to go from B2B to B2C or remain B2B and continue building on their, on their gaming content portfolio. The gaming industry is like any other consumer industry, it's affected by crises. So, I mean, it would go without saying that the financial crisis over the last few years is affecting the industry, especially in its margins. That's the negative aspect. I think the positive aspect is the way that mobile and connected devices have swept through our world's population. And I think that's also shifting our industry. Not be ashamed of what they do. It's forever that the gambling industry calls itself the gaming industry. And I think that this segregation or etymological differentiation speaks volumes to the psychology, the inner psychology of the companies and the executives. I think that gaming or gambling is a very natural social activity. It exists and has existed for thousands of years in the societies. And I think that, within regulated environments and markets, it should thrive without, the excuses or the frames that need to be placed around it. I think it's a very healthy activity, as long as it's moderated, much like anything else in this world. I think technological migration is an issue, if we are to speak about, the way that we are operating, etc. Another thing that perhaps is the case is how there exist certain preconceptions about who is a competitor and who is not a competitor. I think that eventually everybody is competing for the proverbial wallet of the consumer, of the player. So in that respect, I think everybody should probably, reinvent rethink what a competitor really means. You can be a competitor with somebody as a company, but you can have symbiotic products and vice versa. This show has been a highlight of my career. I'm very proud that we are first-time exhibitors. When I first saw the large banner on top of our stand, I felt very proud. And I was also very proud of our team. I think they performed extremely well at this show. So that's one thing. And the other thing is I was very proud when we first did when we did our first contract in Latin America. I spent some time living there. I moved back to Greece. And then 5-6 years later, I had the chance to go back along with a product and a nice contract, and that made me feel very happy. I would probably say I have some tools advice. The gaming industry is a very diverse industry. It ranges from technology going all the way to government relations. So my advice would be to always remember that within the gaming industry, you can have many different positions, and you must understand very many different aspects of the ecosystem. So I don't play that much, but I think that what I would recommend is the craps in the casino. I love that. I think that it's the first, it's the first real social game, where you can bet on what the other guy is rolling, and you can bet against him, with him. It can be a group of people, it's like a community betting kind of experience. I bet on sports. I like that. I don't bet large amounts, but I do bet in order to increase the, the interest that I have on an outcome, and also in cases that I feel very strongly about some kind of upset, I will try to put money in it so that I can tell people I told you so. I have. It was not a significant amount of money. It was $400, but it was when I was a student, and we had driven to Montreal, and we didn't have any money. So we wanted to watch the Grand Prix, the Formula One, and we went to the casino, and I put 20 Canadian dollars in the roulette, and I won back 440, which was the price of the tickets. I mean, it was the money for the tickets. So we ended up going to the Grand Prix on the back of a large victory in the casino.